Hi, my name's Charlie Turnbull. This is the Academy of Cheese Level 1, Session 1.1, Learning to Taste Cheese. So what we're going to do is take the experience of tasting and we're just going to walk through it really slowly and we're going to make notes. Okay. Now, I'm choosing today, a bit of Montgomery's cheddar. Okay. He's looking good. You can see that he's got a bit of sort of traditional rind around the side. And he's got some incursion of the slightly older chappy of mold. And we will see how we go with him. So grab yourself, if you haven't got one paused now, grab yourself a structured approach to tasting cheese sheet. And let's quickly put that up on screen. Let's make it bigger than that. Okay, so you can see that. So it is at the top of it. We have, what do we know? What do we know about the cheese? Well, we have the name of the cheese. We're going to write down, are we going to write down cheddar? No, we want to say which cheddar, Montgomery's cheddar. In fact, we want to know anything we can about it. If we knew the date it was produced, that would be important, that kind of thing. So very important to write down the cheese. What is it? What are we tasting? Cheesemaker, in this case, it's Jamie Montgomery. The country and region is the West Country. He's in South Somerset. Date tasted today, whenever today is for you. Milk type, we're talking cow's milk here. Heat treatment on this occasion for the cheese I'm tasting. You can taste any cheese you like. You taste, I'm tasting. We've got a raw milk cheese, so it's not heat treated, and it's got an animal in it. Okay, so nice and easy, ticking off those boxes, circle it. If you don't know, write down, I don't know. Think about you in 6 months' time, looking about this, going, oh dear, I didn't write that down. What happened? Going, oh, I didn't know. That's fine, fair cop. And there are plenty of cheeses out there for which you might not know the producer. You might just get a pecorino or something like that. And in that case, you might not know if it's heat treated. So just write what you know, write what you don't know. Now, page 1 from that point on is what I call the observations. We want to get in there and do our observations. What are observations? Well, essentially, these are tells, physical, smelly things before we taste, bits that we can observe. And starting off, we're going to look at the rind. Now, your cheese might not have a rind, okay? Some cheddars don't, and you know, that'd be fine. But this one does, really obvious, okay? So let's have a look. We'll make sure we don't look at him. Look at that rind, okay? It's pretty typical. Now, I'm just going to hold it still, and I want you to say to yourself, what am I looking at? Okay, so what are we seeing here? Okay, for a start, it's mostly sort of whitish, okay? Also, it appears to have some sort of texture. And then on top of that, there are some blemishes. You know, there's one there. Oh, what's that? That's one. Okay, so let's take this apart bit by bit. Let's start with the white, okay? So let's have a look at that. Okay. Oh, what is that? How interesting. That's Penicillium camemberti or something similar. It's a white mold growth. Okay, sitting on the top. Okay. Smell that? Oh, it smells pretty moldy, actually. Okay, that's fine. Good. What about these other things? So if we look at it, we'll be able to see some brown molds, maybe something like that. And there's a little bit up there. Can you see that? Come on, you can focus, Mr. Machine. It's almost purpley. So we've got a mixture of, we're going to call them wild molds, non-deliberate, non-domesticated molds that are appearing on the surface. What about the textured element? I wonder if we can. Don't know if you can hear that. Hope you can. That is the impression left on the cheese by the cloth. And actually look at it and go, oh yeah, that's kind of clothy. Okay. Now you might have one that still has some cloth on it. This one doesn't. There's no way they'd have got the cloth off. They left the cloth on when they did the cutting. So what we hear is just the memory of cloth. Okay. Now there's some other things going on here. I don't know if you can see that, right? That brownie bit. Come on, you can focus. You can focus. Right. Actually, it's evidence of cheese mite there. Okay, and it's sort of dusty and powdery and looks more cratered. That's where the cheese mites have been gardening the cheese to get the mold that they like to eat. Okay, so we've got a lot going on here. So how do we want to record this? Okay, first thing with recording is just write it down. Whatever you're looking at, write it down. You are not wrong, because you are going to See what you say. Say what you see. So in this case, we're going to describe this as dry cheese or natural rind. That's a dry cheese or natural rind. It's just cheese. There's nothing else going on there. Well, there's mold on top, but it's mold is on the hard dry cheese. We're also going to tick organic outer because we know from the patterning that it once had a cheesecloth on it. And if we want to clear that, we're going to put a little line up to organic, evidence of cheesecloth. And then we're also going to choose white mold and other molds, or something like probably other mold on this occasion. Tick that, and another line from our comments. And we're going evidence of unknown, probably wild molds and yeasts. But then we want to say something to the fact that it's not very much. It's just like dusting of molds on our surface, because we're going to come across cheeses with substantial mold, and we want to make sure we're not confusing that when we come in. Right, paste or interior. Let's talk about texture. Okay, this from soft to hard, and you can see you've got 0 to 10 in your spectrum. You've got to bear in mind that 0 to 10 is of cheese. It is not from, air to concrete. It's 0 to 10 of cheese. So what is the softest cheese you've ever had? Probably like a goat's curd, something like that, where you can barely feel it when you put it in your textures. And the hardest cheese, yeah, you're on it, something like Parmesan, but not even just Parmesan rind. That's probably the hardest cheese we're going to come across. Really hard. So where does Jamie Montgomery's cheddar? Now, I've nipped a bit off the center. And if you're on it, you'll know that it won't be evenly firm across it. The center will be probably softer. So we're going to have a little squeeze of that. Now, the first thing, it breaks up. See, it breaks up. Oh, come on, you can do this. It's breaking, right? There you go. And then it squishes into a sort of a paste or a putty. Sorry, ate some by accident. Very tasty. So how hard is that? Well, it's not that hard, but it's definitely hard. And all the cheese in all the world, and it's harder than all these ones. Look at all these. We got some Roquefort, some Stilton, some Gorgonzola Dolce, and a Délices de Bourgogne. What about these ones? Okay. So is it harder than Manchego? It's probably not harder than this Manchego. This harder. Is it harder than a Mimolette? No, it's not harder than that. We've got to leave space in our 0 to 10 for that. Is it harder than a Morbier? I'm squeezing that. That is totally softer than Montgomery's. Parmesan, we know it's going to be softer. And we've got a hard cheese there, which is a Wensleydale, which is the third. It's going to be harder than that. So if we were just to say there are 10 cheeses here, and there roughly are, it's going to be about a 7. Okay? So it's not as hard as some harder cheese. No, I've got a... You can hear that. Much harder. Softer. So 7, possibly a 6. It's in that range, 6 to 7. You could, if you like, and it's not part of level 1. It's certainly worth doing. Same firms up towards the edge, because if you squeeze this bit, ooh, and then you squeeze that bit, oh no, it gets hard towards the edge. Look at that. In fact, it's really hard that side. Right, next up, consistency. Consistency is quite a tricky one, because it's trying to capture 2 things. One is the consistency over the whole cheese, and 2 is the consistency of the bits within that whole cheese. So we're going to look at this again. All right, here we go. Can you see? Come on, you can do this. Well, let's see if we can turn that on and get a bit of that. Let's see if I can get that. No, it just doesn't like that, does it? Okay, but can you see there's a... Oh, I wish I could do this. Anyway. Let's look at this cheese. Okay, so there is some gentle mottling. We can see some darker yellow bits and some lighter yellow bits. Plus, if you've got an old bit of cheddar, you'll see there's some little cracks and fissures, but they're all closed, right? And they're pretty small. So no holes or gaps per se, but you can see evidence that they have been squished together at some point. So we want to make a note of that. But it's pretty consistent across the whole piece, right? There's no softer bits over here and harder bits over here. It's pretty much even. You could argue that the coloration, and it's correct, gets lighter as you get towards the center. Marvelous. Those kind of things we're taking a note of. They'll tell us things in the future. Color, what color is that? Well, it's white to ivory. Sorry, yellow to ivory. It's sort of cheesy color, but it's not bright cheesy color like my friend the bull over here. Where am I going there? There, no. Anyway, he's on this picture. I can see him, but I keep pointing in the wrong direction. There he is there. He's not that yellow. So we're going to go paler yellow to ivory. And bluing is there. Well, there is. Yes, there is. Look. There's some bluing. What are we going to describe it as? Not deliberate. Most definitely not deliberate. What is not deliberate mean? Because you could argue that within traditional cheddar making, the making of blue is just a thing that happens. It's not deliberate. It's just like inevitable. Yes, but you choose not to have it if you could. If you could unclick the switch that says leaves blue in my cheese, you would leave that. So this is not deliberate. Jamie Montgomery is more relaxed about it. He's very, very old school. So in that sense that he has he's blue tolerant, and people who buy his cheese are blue tolerant. And actually, if you taste it, it's really nice. Okay, so bluing. Comment about that. What we're going to put on our comment on this one is that we've got significant incursion from the rind. I think we're going to make that, and we are going to say the bluing is relevant. Okay, so otherwise it's pretty good. Not pretty good, not pretty bad. Just it is. Right, smell. Okay, you ready for smell? Okay. Right. What's the what 0 to 10? How do we possibly do that? Okay, well, here's the thing, right? Epoisse, famously, and everyone knows this, except if you don't know it and wish you're about to know it, is banned on the Paris Metro for being too smelly. Okay, so that is a smelly cheese. Something like this Gruyere barely smells at all. You'd think, big cheese, therefore big smell. No. So the way we're going to do this, if it's 0 to 10, right? If it's over 5, you want to be able to smell it from an arm's length or more away. We know, like, it's a pungent in thing. You know, it's inhabiting your room. Okay. If it's less than 5, then it may be smelly when you get it close up. There's this one, but you can't smell it from 6, 8, 12 inches away. Does that make sense? So if something like this Montgomery's, right, it's got 2 distinct smells, a mild one coming off the body, the paste, and a significant one coming off the rind. I'm going to give this a 3.5. Okay, so I'm getting, it's noticeable. It's smelly, but it's not smelling across the room. It's, you know, in a fridge, you wouldn't know it was there. Okay. At level 1, we don't ask you to identify the smells, but this course is for you to learn and enjoy. So if you're picking up, that's kind of got a milky note, or is that definitely so smelling of cellars or something like that, write it down because it's interesting and it's fun. Okie dokie. Those are our observations. Go away, a little bit of homework, find yourself a cheese and just run through it. Doesn't matter which cheese, preferably sort of one with lots to say will be a starting point, but go and make yourself some observations and you'll find that all you're doing is writing down the obvious. Okay, just write down the obvious. That's what I want you to do. If you're not sure about something, write down what you do see and just don't conclude on it. That's where we're at. Write down the obvious. All right, that was a Charlie Turnbull Academy of Cheese Level 1, tasting the observations. Nice to see you. I will see you come back when we start actually tasting the cheese.